Okay, so I just want to say thank you for giving up your time to participate in this interview. And I'm just reminding you that this will be recorded. And if by any chance you don't want to answer any questions or you want to stop the interview, you just feel free to let me know and I'll stop. Okay, so just say your name, and where you live right now.
So my name is Melanie Yates Briere, and I'm living in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Okay. Was this your first time going to Haiti when you first went?
No, this wasn't my first time. I was living in Haiti for 10 years, actually. I went to Haiti when I was 8 years old for the first time, and I left at 18 to go to university in Canada. So I was very familiar with Haiti before the earthquake hit in 2010.
All right. How long have you been there so far since you went?
It's been about 2 years since the earthquake, so a total of about 12 years in Haiti now.
Okay. Why did you just decide to go to Haiti after the earthquake?
I had been planning to return to Haiti for a very long time before the earthquake hit. This kind of sped up the process, I could say. I wasn't planning on coming in after a natural disaster per se, but after I visited, I came in 4 days after the earthquake hit. And after visiting, I somehow just really got inspired. My husband and I wanted to return, and I got a really great job opportunity. And so that's what kind of led me back and gave me the opportunity to contribute to the relief efforts here.
All right. How did you feel when you first returned to Haiti?
I felt, if I had to describe it in a word, I would say I felt a little bit uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable only because I wasn't feeling all of the emotions that I thought that I would feel coming in after an earthquake. I thought I would feel super overwhelmed. I would feel sad. I would have a lot of emotions I didn't know how to deal with. But I think it was maybe the shock of the situation. I didn't feel much of anything at all. I felt pretty numb and just overall uncomfortable with the situation, but not sad and not distraught, none of that. I just felt like there was a lot to get done and we had to focus, and so that's kind of what I did and that's how I approached it. A lot of those emotions came in the months after the quake, so they came later.
Did you have any fear of returning in terms of your physical safety in Haiti, considering at the time many institutions were broken down?
I did have a lot of fear coming back in. I didn't know so much what to anticipate in terms of how much had really been destroyed. But when we came in, my father and I came in through the Dominican. It was the only way into Haiti at the time. And so we rented a bus in the DR and we traveled over. And as we were approaching the city, I remember feeling very uncomfortable because it was nearing dark. And I knew a lot of people in the city didn't have access to food and water. And we had a bus full of food and water. And so I know that attacks were kind of frequent and they were commonplace at that time. So I do remember feeling that kind of uncomfort. And I also remember traveling up the mountain. Anytime after dark, there was a curfew. So I think it was 6 p.m. Everyone was to be indoors if they had a place to sleep indoors. And so, yeah, traveling at night in the dark made me feel really uncomfortable.
Describe what you saw when you first arrived.
So, like, in by bus, and we were with a camera crew, a Canadian camera news crew, which was a very interesting way to travel into Haiti after an earthquake. But I do remember one moment when we were traveling in. It's the first I had seen death up close that way, but there were a number of corpses, dead bodies on the side of the street as we came into the city. I wasn't used to seeing things like that, and I remember in the moment there was a cameraman. The cameraman kind of, whipped the camera in my face and wanted to get my reaction on camera, on film. And I did not feel comfortable with that at all. And I remember saying something like, I kind of need to process this for a second. I'm very disturbed right now, so maybe we can film afterwards, but I don't feel comfortable in this moment doing that. So he was understanding. He, took the camera off me, and I was able to process it a bit. But that's the first thing I saw coming into the city. So it was really hard.
How would you compare Haiti now from when you lived there as a child?
I think a lot of what I loved about Haiti growing up here has remained the same. There's so much I love about this culture, about its people. Um, just so much about that has remained intact and the same. But in terms of the city, Port-au-Prince itself, it was completely disfigured. A lot of places that I knew growing up no longer exist. A lot of places I have a lot of more recent memories. For instance, the place I took my wedding photos, there's a beautiful hotel on the side of a mountain. It does not exist any longer. That building just is non-existent. So it's very bizarre to go back to those places I knew as a child and they just don't exist. So it's a really weird feeling. But as I've traveled in and out of the city, I realized that this is a part of the country which was devastated and looks a lot different. But the rest of the country is what I remembered it to be. Beautiful natural sites, a lot of waterfalls, a lot of just gorgeous things that people don't necessarily know about Haiti, but those have remained the same. And that was kind of a good thing to know. It felt comforting to know that those places still exist.
How did the earthquake affect your family, and how did they manage to secure food for themselves?
So my family, I can speak a bit about both sides of my family. So I'm married. My husband's family were the majority, well, I would say half of his family were living in Haiti at the time. And then my family was in Canada, partially in Canada, partially here in Haiti. So my two brothers were here at the time of the quake. For about 45 or 48 hours after the quake, we didn't know how they were, we didn't know where they were, we didn't know what was going on. So I remember that being very stressful leading up to the time that we came in and we were able to see them in person and know that they were doing okay. My mother-in-law was here. Their home was not affected, thankfully. We were very thankful to know that everyone was okay on their side. We had a very close friend of ours who passed, but our families were okay. I would say since the earthquake, a lot has changed for my immediate family just because of my decision to now move to Haiti and work here and kind of establish a life here. My mom's living in Toronto, my dad's living in Toronto, so it's kind of split the family up slightly. There's still a lot of distance involved, which is difficult, but I think we all really believe in this project, what we're doing here in country, and so I'm thankful for the way things have turned out.
In your dealings with the people in Haiti, have you encountered people who have suffered a serious trauma, such as post-traumatic stress disorder?
We have actually had a lot of patients dealing with post-traumatic stress at the hospital I work for. And more than that, people just generally in Haiti, I think there's an overall sense of trauma that people feel anytime they feel, a heavy truck go by in the streets. It's kind of just this panic. We see this a lot. And at the hospital, as a response to the post-traumatic stress, we've actually established a psychosocial unit. So we have social workers, we have psychologists, psychiatrists who are there to counsel patients, and staff members. And so I think that component of the relief response mounted, and it's been critical. And it's seen in the 10 cities that we visit as we do the work that we're doing. I mean, it's rampant, the effects of post-traumatic stress. Yeah.
How did children cope with the fact that they were unable to go to school after the earthquake? How was their education continued during that time period?
It was kind of a stalemate. I know that the school that I went to when I was here in Haiti, a lot of those students ended up going, well, these are students with a little bit more means, but they were able to go to the States and finish off their school year there in the States or Canada. But again, those are children with means to do so. A lot of the children here were just kind of, things were put on hold, and there was this real sense that we were losing time and that kids who should have been sitting in a classroom were just not learning. And there was a sense of urgency, I know, felt by a lot of people here to get things, up and running again for the schools. And it was a really happy day to see all of the uniforms. All the kids wear uniforms here going to school. So the day we saw them, kind of get back to school, it was a sense of relief.
Tell me more about what you're doing in Haiti now.
So I'm currently working with Grace Children's Hospital. The organization which runs that hospital is called International Child Care. The hospital was about 80% of the physical infrastructure came down in the quake, and it was really damaged beyond the point of repair. So our goal at this point, we're in the middle of an intensive planning stage, and we're planning for a new pediatric healthcare facility. We're located in an area called Lower Delma. So it's in the heart of Port-au-Prince, and we service about 80,000 individuals, community residents in this area. So there's a great need for maternal child care. And these are people who wouldn't necessarily have access to affordable healthcare services if we didn't rebuild the